Hello, everyone, and welcome to GP Tuesdays. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Today we have an extremely exciting presentation from multiple speakers today. I'm really excited to introduce everyone. Before we get started, let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about what is GP Tuesdays. GP Tuesdays is a weekly AI community where we bring together AI engineers, business professionals, enthusiasts, and now even students so that we can all learn and grow together to stay ahead of the AI wave. Everything is moving so fast. So all of us working together, learning together, we can stay ahead and help educate the rest of the world. I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Miami-Dade College and the AI Center for giving us this wonderful venue.
Yeah.
Give it up. Miami-Dade College education is absolutely free, so no student debt for anyone that comes to Miami-Dade College. So congratulations, that's a very wonderful thing. I would love to now move forward with, providing a little more context on our speakers today from Hajj and Cynthia, our first speakers, as well as Colleen. So Hajj and Cynthia, we actually met they do a lot of great AI events here in Miami. We actually met at Prompt Camp. Myself, Itai, and a few friends went there, and we got to know each other, and we've been friends ever since. We've been going to each other's events and been hanging out, and it's been a really great time. They know a lot about AI and creating brands, and as well as helping people learn the new mindset about how to adjust in this new reality with AI. So before I take too much time up here, how about we get started and introduce Hajj?
All right.
From RebrandX.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Hello? All right, we just gonna switch. Are we good?
Yep, here we go.
Okay, cool. We're gonna switch mics. We're the operator here, and I'm the operator. There's nobody else to blame right now. But I'm excited to be here. How many people are excited to be at GPT Tuesday?
Yeah.
All right, well, cool.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna jump right into it today. My name is Hajj Flemings, founder of RebrandX. We do a lot of digital transformation, but today we're just excited just to talk. How many people are excited about AI? Okay, so that's most people in the room. All right, awesome. Well, we're gonna jump into it. A lot of so when I think about AI, I think about the unknown, right? And so in society, lots of times we're afraid of what we don't know, right? So we know artificial intelligence is not new, it's over 70 years old, right? But this is the first time that artificial intelligence has been put into a commercial product and put in the hands of the regular, average, everyday people. So we know that the horse can't go back into the barn. We know Elon Musk can't stop it, right? So what we realize is that we now have to realize, how are we going to grapple with this amazing technology that's transforming the way that we interact in society? It's the most transformational technology or consequential technology of our time in terms of the adoption of it and the way it's going to impact life. It's going to impact the way we interact with each other. It's going to impact relationships and everything else, right? And so as we think about that, we have to think about how we feel about this technology. So there was a cover that came out about a year ago. I don't know if people remember hearing this cover like about a year ago. So when you heard this cover, how did you feel when you heard this cover? Well, first of all, who is this? Okay, all right. So how did you feel about that, like when you first heard that? Okay, well. Okay, so that's a clone, right? That's a clone of Jay's voice. So now, how do we feel about artificial intelligence? Some of that goes back to who owns that, right? Who's going to be able to monetize it? Is it real? Is it authentic? So now we might have a certain viewpoint in terms of how we feel about artificial intelligence based upon the impact that it has to us as individuals, as business owners, right? Right. So when I first heard it, I was like, that sounds cool. But then there was a lot of debate back and forth. But this is just an example, and this is over a year ago. We have to think about, it's not only you having a voice, but who owns that voice, who can monetize that voice, who can monetize this in the real world. And so that's just one example, right? So part of what we're going to talk about today is we want to get you to think about how you color outside the lines. Society wants you to be average. Society wants to paint you into a corner and wants you to follow the blueprint. But now that we have this amazing tool called artificial intelligence, we now have the ability to be able to amplify the ideas that we have. We believe that technology has always been an extension of human ability, right? And so now how do we take this and we use it so that it does not use us, right? So when I think about AI, AI is a remix of everything. It's a remix of the internet, remix of books, ideas, pictures, photos, songs, everything that has existed since the beginning of time. And to me, there's nothing new under the sun. I don't care how original you think you are. I thought I was original back in 2018. I had about 6 pair of Prestos. I had an iPad. I had all this Apple stuff. And I realized that I was following the algorithm. I was being programmed to do what I do, right? And so when I think about this, we have to understand the system, the machine learns the same way that we do. But we get mad at the machine for how it learns because it absorbs the stuff that has come before it. So when we think about AI, we have to think about what this looks like. So when I think about AI, I look at it like this. We have the human and the machine. So I don't look at it as artificial intelligence. I look at it as amplified intelligence. And so what we're going to talk about today is how do we amplify the ideas and the things that we want to create and we want to put into the earth. And so when we think about it, to me, I look at artificial or amplified intelligence in a totally different light. I look at how it's going to be able to help me to create something that has never before existed because I'm able to put a prompt or an instruction into a machine. One of my favorite authors is Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about the 10,000 hours. But there's nothing magical about going from 9,999 to 10,000 hours. But there's something deeply profound about deep domain knowledge. So when we look at artificial intelligence, we tend to figure out where do we want to fit into this whole continuum. But think about the area that you have deep domain knowledge in. And if you're able to take that and apply that to a specific area of AI, it will allow you to be able to dominate. So if you're a photographer and you're going in and you're programming and you're looking at Midjourney, you understand the nuances of lens and lighting and all of those things that the novice doesn't understand. And so taking all that lived experience and being able to apply that to the specific area is going to allow you to be able to do work and to do things that haven't existed before. So even when I think about this, how many people miss counting on their fingers because we have a calculator? How many? One person, let me give a high five. Okay, one person, right? How many people miss, and some of y'all might not be old enough for this, a Britannica encyclopedia? We had those in my house. We don't miss that because we have the internet. So as we get these new inventions and technology, we don't miss the old thing. Not that we can't use it, but we don't miss it anymore. And so as we think about the things that we're going to be progressively looking at, think about how we add new tools to the tool set. We have to think about what does AI fluency and digital literacy look like as we're starting to program and to build websites and to do other things. As we outsource all of these things to the machine, we have to think about being critical thinkers. When I grew up, I knew all the phone numbers that I had to dial. Now I know 2. I know my wife's phone number, I know my phone number, no, I know 3, and my daughter's phone number, right? So now what is the part that we're going to be critical thinkers of versus all the other mundane tasks that we're now outsourcing to the machine? There's an amazing study that was done. Clayton Christensen was one of my favorites, and he is one of the foremost thought leaders around the area of disruptive innovation. And so has anybody here ever had a McDonald's milkshake before? Okay, so when the milkshake machine wasn't broke, you had one, okay? So they brought him in, and he was doing this study on why milkshakes were selling. And one of the things that we talk about in design thinking is getting out of the cubicle and out of the classroom and talking to customers. He talked to the customers, found out that most of them were selling in the morning, and then what he realized is that they had a drive to work that was about 25 minutes. And so in that drive to work, their goal was to be able to get there and to not have something that was too messy. They didn't want bagels or things that were going to take up too much time. And the reality is that he came up with this profound thought is that the milkshake had a job to be done. So if a milkshake had the job to be done, which is to occupy the driver for that 25-minute drive to get them safe and sound, has anybody ever driven next to somebody and they're doing too much in the car? They're combing their hair, beating the kids, bagels, makeup, all this other. I know it's nobody in this room, but that's other people, right? But what happened is that it had a job to be done. So when we think about AI, I want you to think specifically about the job that needs to be done. So today we're going to talk about the job of developing websites, but I want you to think about the task that you're assigning to, whether it's an AI agent. In the future we'll have humanoids and robots and all of these kinds of things. They'll have rights, right? But think about the job to be done. Think about this from a tech stack standpoint. What are the different tools and the platforms that you're going to use to be able to create amazing new works that have never before existed, right? And so when we think about this, I'm gonna look at myself now. I can't draw a lick, but I can go and I can put a prompt into the machine. And then when I put a prompt in there, I can create a photo that I can turn into a video that I can now drop, and I can now create a song with Sono. And we know that Timberland now he's now invited with Sono. So you're now starting to see the creatives and industry working together. So what does that tech stack look like? Use Sono, Runway, ML, and Midjourney. And so these things allow us to be able to be creative and to do stuff that we've never before done. So if we look at websites, I created this website in 5 minutes. Now I'm not gonna get into the website. We got Colleen who's gonna just drop some heat on us later on today, right? But I created the basic structure of this with Durable in like 5 minutes. And it's not bad. I just put my name and what I did, and it came up with, and I dropped some fire pictures of myself, and I think they're fire whether you like them or not, right? And so I'm able to create something, but I'm not a web developer. But that's the new world that we're now moving towards. We're now be able to create things that we weren't able to create in the past. In 5 minutes, I created this, right? So I want us to now to think about stories. How many people have seen this? Now I'm here, I gotta go check the statue out. I got this statue, I don't know if that's Lawrence Fishburne. I have no idea who the statue is. D. Wade even came up and was like, who is this guy? Right? But we're wired for stories. And so when I think about what we have to think about in the new era of web, why are websites important? Because we need to be able to curate stories. You need to be the person who understands how to curate and to develop the story. And there are certain aspects of a site that I believe that are valuable, that when we start to think about what is truth and what is real, there are certain aspects of a website, having an SSL, right? There are certain things, securing a domain name. And so we're really going to have to think about what truth looks like in the world moving forward. And so when we think about this, what is truth? What is real? How are we going to quantify what's real? How are we going to be able to validate the idea, the business, ourselves, in a world where if you're not physically in the room, you won't know whether something is real or not? And so as we begin to talk about websites and talk about the future of AI, we really have to understand what transparency looks like, ethical AI, and how we tell stories and how people connect to us and connect to our ideas, and what does our digital imprint and footprint and identity look like moving forward. And so I believe that there's still going to be a place for websites, but how we navigate and interact with it is going to be different, right? Natural language processing. Are we going to be interacting with bots? What is going to be the new purpose of you creating this, this space online where people can connect to the ideas that you have? And now we can do that faster, quicker than we've ever done before. So now what we're going to do, we're going to transition to Cynthia. She's going to go a little bit deeper, but I want to leave this in your mind. AI is a remix. It's a remix of all the stuff that you've created and done in the past, and now you're able to do stuff quicker, and you're able to do stuff a lot faster. So I hope I was able to put a quick deposit in there. I don't know if we're going to do a Q&A at the end,
Yes.
or we're going to transit. Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so now we're going to transition to Cynthia. So did y'all get any value out of that? All right.
Anybody have a takeaway? Anyone?
AI is a remix.
AI is a remix. Okay.
Very nice.
Awesome. Well, my name is Cynthia Respert, COO of RebrandX, and the founder of the AI Builder Academy, where we believe, build, and become. We believe in our brilliance, we build boldly, and we become the solution that the marketplace needs. I've had the opportunity to serve over 2,000 businesses in 10 cities in 3 countries with Rebrand Cities. And it's just been a blessing, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But when I think about AI, this is what I think about. Activated imagination, agile innovation, authentic imprint, assistant in training. Somebody else give me some, I told you I like participation. Somebody else give me AI definition for you.
Adaptability.
Adaptable? Adaptable intelligence. I'm giving the I part. Awesome, thank you. One more. Anybody else?
Augmented.
Augmented intelligence.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So this is like a little curve that I came up with. Everything from access all the way to addiction. And I want you to identify yourself here. Access is available to all, right? Awareness, I've heard about AI. Adoption, I use it. Acceleration is powering my life and my business. And addiction, I just want more. GP Tuesdays, I assume a lot of people are here, but let's just take the pulse of the crowd today. If you're in the awareness stage, just start typing. Awesome. What about the adoption? Not enthusiastic at all, I get it. Acceleration. Awesome. I'm in that addiction phase when I was a Rebrand Cities team. Okay. All right.
We got too excited.
I see.
We're back.
Oh, there you are. Awesome. So this is talking about websites, right? This is the very first website. Back in 1991. No user, no UX, no UI, no user experience. I mean, there's no design here whatsoever. And today, we're talking about web development in the age of AI. This is when our team went to Haiti in 2017. This is a depiction of people who drove, some of them 8+ hours to come and get a website through our partnership with WordPress. And the country was under a threat level, and they're trying to overthrow the government at the time. So they were dedicated to getting a website. Now, we can create websites with a sentence. Now, through coding and all those things, the president or CEO of NVIDIA said, you shouldn't learn how to code anymore. You don't need to know that. We need to make this easier. It says you now have a computer that will do what you tell it to do, and it's vital to upskill everyone. So today we're talking about websites, and it's not coding with WordPress, but low no-code tools, as Colleen is going to come and talk about. So I'm going to assign a new definition of code. This is how I like to communicate this to our community. And coding means to create, optimize, dream, and execute. That means to make something, to streamline something, reimagine something, and act on what we learn. So that's the new definition of code. Somebody shout code. Oh, see, I like participation, like energy. Somebody shout code. Awesome. So now, this is why we must master this thing, because it changes all the time, right? When I think of mastery, I think of code. You know what I mean? I mean, I know where in my head, but anybody think of code? He's a master, right? Yep. Arguably the GOAT, he still had a work ethic that was unmatched. Disciplined, still beat everybody to the gym, regardless of him being the best arguably in the game, right? So that's the level of mastery that we had. We had 10 rules. One of them was learn from greatness, and that's why you're here today. I'm just kidding. We're very well or very bad, so thanks for that. But the one I want to hone in on is get better every single day. So Colleen's going to come up, we're going to talk about developing websites and what we need to have a lens for. But the key is to get better every single day. None of you said that you're in the lower end of the spectrum. You're in the addicted phase, so you don't have a problem with these running these labs, these AI labs. Now, the other part of mastery is AI. This guy, he could go to the club the night before and put up 50 the next day. He didn't have the same level of discipline as Kobe. But we want that Kobe level mastery that we have to have get better every single day with AI. Now, AI, dates back to 1956, and a couple years later, this thing came out. Who remembers the Jetsons? Oh my goodness, give me something that the Jetsons had in their ecosystem. Robots, right? Rosie. The pictures I have a robot, we have a robot dog, what else? Flying cars, that's on the way, what else? What was it? Yeah. The Apple Watch. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. But also Zoom, like FaceTime, right? We have FaceTime, Zoom. Things that were like out of this world before, these people saw it and imagined it, and now we're living in it right now. But what about our city? I'm going to play all those videos they're playing on autoplay right now. The first one is the refrigerator that will tell you when your food expires and being recipes over to the stove. The next one, I'm sure everyone in this room knows, those dogs were created with less than 20 words with OpenAI's platform. This robot, somebody shot a robot, this robot is doing dishes and reasoning. So that's not far off either. The screenless laptop, you don't need that much room in the coffee shop anymore. You just plop down with your glasses, and now you have screenless laptops and, of course, digital avatars. So now that's our city, right? And regardless of how smart AI becomes, I know y'all tired of this song, but you're going to get it super well. You're not tired of it? AI will never, ever be us. Now, I had to put that in there too. I mean, it's precious. Sure. But the monument, the purpose is that regardless of how smart AI becomes, AI will never be us. But what we have to do is not make monuments of how we used to do things, how we used to develop websites, how we used to get customers, how we used to connect with our ecosystem, how we used to do community. We can't rely on how we used to do those things. That's why we put this statue over here, right? So we don't want monuments in that fashion. And this is what I like to say. We're going to get over to Colleen. This AI is intended to be an extension of us, not the extinction of us. An amplification of our genius, the very best parts of us, right? So this is what AI is intended to be. So I want us to dream a little bit as we talk about this. We're talking about web development in the age of AI. You have a digital brand, and normally that's a tone, your voice, your online presence, the language, your customer perception, right? This is the brand that shows and tells. But I want you to think of it in a different way. When you're creating your website, you're creating and deploying a digital brand. So this is a brand that's active and working for you. Your online logos and perception, etc., that's out there like a show and tell. This is a connect and sell. Everyone say digital brand.
Digital brand.
Oh, someone's enthusiasm. So digital brand is mobilizing your brand, a brand's intelligent online presence. You can read the rest there, but this is a personalized experience. So while we're talking about these websites, if we turn over to Colleen, this is the new age of customer connection, right? So digital brand is to mobilize your brand. Did you know that when we learn something, like our nervous system connects and forges like new connections? Like, did you learn something new today, or last Tuesday, or the Tuesday before? Anybody? That's why you keep coming back, right? So when you learn something, our neurons are firing off and they make new connections. That's what our brand does in the age of AI. That brand plasticity. When I learn something new about my customer, now I cater to them differently, right? So when you're thinking about this website development, think about the next level of what it can accomplish. You can just take a screenshot of that. I won't belabor that point with this table, but this is the difference between the digital brand and your digital brand. Connect and sell versus just sit out there and just show and tell. So website pain points. And Colleen, you can prepare to come up, because we have a partnership with WordPress, and we were doing some great work with some Miami businesses, and we would assist them with getting their website presence online with a WordPress website. We had issues with content. We would say, tell us about your business. And they said, this is the content that goes to the website. And they would say, I have the best burgers in Miami. I said, okay, we need to know a little bit more about that, right? So content, because oftentimes business owners are not storytellers, they are working the business. So now that's not a problem in the age of AI. I think that's a saying. They like to wrap it up. So technical skills are required, development time, cost, customization, pain points, right? But we're defining and remedying all these points. So as we move to talking about web development, I just want to know which one are you?
Okay, so we're here to talk about how AI is changing how we build and using websites. We just heard two great presentations, and we're going to take things in a little bit of a different direction. So who here develops or designs websites? Okay, great. And who is designing or building a new site or redesigning one right now? That's something that you want to do, okay? And who is just curious in general, maybe not doing it? Okay, so this is a great bit. And hopefully at the end of this, for each of you, you're going to take away a tool or a tip or something that allows you to reach those goals. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we build, ideate, we're going to talk about content creation, how we design, and some new options on the market, and then some ideas to consider. So as Grant mentioned, I've been a regular here the last few months at GPTuesdays. I'm a former WordCamp Miami presenter, organizer with Todd. I know Todd's here somewhere. Todd's here in front. And then I also built with Vocalo. And so just take a look at this. This is a website. This is sort of the website development process. And as you can see, there's a lot of steps involved. And some of them overlap, some of them don't. And we're not going to cover all of this tonight, but we're going to cover little pieces and where AI is making a difference. And AI is going to touch everything on that chart. Yep. I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Nice.
AI will touch everything. All right, so let's get into how we build. We're going to start with Grid. And Grid, there's this wonderful video on YouTube, but because it's going to be on YouTube, I don't want to have any copyright issues, so it's a very short video. I encourage you to watch it at some point. But the part that I want to drill in is this line here, is that just tell the Grid what you want, and it uses artificial intelligence to build a tailor-made home for your content. Isn't that something that we all want? Doesn't that sound wonderful? The same way Michelle go out and use the Grid?
Yeah.
You should, except it came out in 2014. We're 10 years later. And we're going to come back to this a couple of times during the talk. And so let's take a look at where we are, some of the things that are out there right now. And so this is the promise of the Grid, but Reloom is a tool that I absolutely love. And if you are looking to build a new site or redesign or just wondering how to make what you currently have better, I really encourage you to take a look at what Reloom is doing. And so there's a couple things that they're doing right now. Site maps and wireframes. And I have this third item covered. We're going to come back to that in a little bit. And so this here is the video that I took. This is in real time. This is not sped up. And the prompt here is, I want to build a site for my local veterinarian's office. And see, we've already got the site map done, and we're now already on the wireframing. And that has been probably less than a minute. And I can go in and click on these different areas and further build them out. So each of those subsequent pages that you see, if I clicked on it, those would automatically fill in. It just starts at one page at a time. I know this is kind of hard to see, so here it is a little bit blown up. So that's the home page and the About Us page. And then here's a little bit zoomed in of what those designs, those wireframes look like. And it was designed just a moment ago. And that is the third thing that's going to be coming from Rebrand, is being able to get more of the design in place. I think that's pretty incredible. Other tools that are out there that you may have heard of. Replay. Cursor has been very hot lately. I think they're sort of looking at the Telegram group. There's some people here who've been using it. And one thing that I noticed recently that just within the past couple of days is this tweet that I got posted here. He's actually one of the founders and former CTO of the website development platform, Webflow. And he's into it. Reweb is another tool that has been out there, making moves bold. Builder.io is teasing out something that's about to come out later this week. I'm curious to see Make It Real. That's a really big promise, but that kind of goes back to what we were talking about initially with the grid. And then last week we saw a lot coming out of Claude. I don't know, has anyone had a chance to play with the latest from Anthropic, building sites? And I've been using projects to help me with code that I needed, staying with ChatGPT. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about how we ideate. Does anybody use MyMind to build content? Okay, that's great to see. And so MyMind has a browser extension, has an app, has several things for basically being able to collect and organize content. Content that you may want to ultimately put on a mood board. Are you developing sites? What's that story that you're going to tell? Which we heard a little bit before earlier. And there's a few things that are really unique about MyMind. One of which is they aren't doing a lot of training on your data, but they are using a lot of AI to help you with the content that you're cooking. So here's an example of me typing in orange, and I was able to get a lot of results that it had auto-tagged had orange in it in some capacity. I didn't tag those things as orange. And then they got this other cool thing that you can see I'm clicking on the lower left-hand corner called Vibe. And it surfaces all the content that I have collected that the AI thinks fits that vibe in some way. So if you're a designer, you're an interior decorator, if you're someone who loves to clip visual content, this is something that you can use and basically be storing information over time. And then when you've got that really big project, you don't have to go back searching through files. You can go and just basically have all of that surface to you. One of the things I think is also very interesting about MyMind is that one of the founders is actually a web developer and has a tool called CXOMPLEX for creating content. So he's very much in tune with what it means to be a web designer and developer. And so I think that's reflected a lot in the tool MyMind. And if you are a space fan, and I think there's a few of you in here, he's done some major work for NASA, so you maybe see some of this design work there. Right. So let's switch gears again. We're going to talk a little bit about how we create content. And cold start problem. So often it is hard to have a blank piece of paper and know where to start. And one of the things that we've typically done in web development design is we've used lorem ipsum. Unfortunately, sometimes that ends up into production. Right? The other thing is, lorem ipsum, it's really hard to wrap your head around it. How big is that headline going to be? How short? Is this content going to fit or not? And that's where using a number of these AI tools for creating content can really cut down the amount of time and cycles to get things going. And so often clients don't even know what the content is that they want. And so that is, again, another place where AI can be a great help. So we saw a little bit with Reloom, they were helping create and build in some of that content. Jasper is another tool that is out there that will help you with your content. It integrates with tools like Google Docs. It does have an integration with Webflow, but even if you're not using Webflow, if you're using Squarespace or Wix or WordPress or some other tool, the fact that they've got integrations with Zapier and Make means that you can use these tools, for example, in Google Docs, and get that content ultimately in your website builder of choice. Also in terms of content, Framer is doing a few interesting things. Framer was one of the tools that was mentioned in Telegram a couple weeks ago. One of the places where they're using AI is for translating content. So if you want to have a multilingual site, it will help with that translation. Another place that this helps is making sure that your brand is staying on voice. So depending upon the size of your organization, you may have a number of people working on things that you be really hard to make sure that brand is staying consistent. And so that's one of the places where we're using AI. And it's interesting kind of we watched the framework, because about a year ago, one of the things that they came out with was text, your prompt text to a design. And I think it seems to me that they backed off on that a little bit and kind of started to go in this other direction, which also is worthwhile, but I won't be surprised if they put it in, or they add in that prompt to text. Okay, websites. In addition to having the text on the page, you have imagery, right? You need to have great images that are beautiful. But what happens when you're using stock photos and you have chosen stock photos that to you think they're unique, but it turns out a lot of other people think that they're unique and they're using them on their websites as well. And so your site doesn't feel as special anymore because that photo is in lots of places. And believe it or not, throughout this presentation, a few of these faces that you see actually have been in some of the other videos. You may not have realized it, but that just is just how prevalent and how used to photography we are. But we've got new options now. For example, we've got the journey, and depending upon what your license is and what plan you're on, you can use those images for commercial purposes. They recently announced the retexture tool. Has anyone had access to that yet? That's great. One of the really nice things about that is you can take an image and adjust it to a lot of different styles. They also have something called style reference codes. So over on the right, if you take a look, see how the images in those clusters all kind of look alike? And that's because those use a style reference code. But picture may not always be the best tool for the job. Visual Electric is another tool that's out there that I think is more designed for commercial purposes. And if you actually listen to the founder of the journey, he's really a lot about play and exploration. In some ways, it's not much about commercial purposes. Just one of the reasons like tools like Visual Electric can be really a great alternative. Because they're designed for color matching. They have features that are in place so that if you want to put things on mock-ups for your e-commerce site, that they've got a lot of those types of things built in. Anyone familiar with Humane? With the wearable? Well, last week they released a new site, and this is just a sneak peek at that new site. And there's a lot of these sites that they did really, really well about this new design. They've had a lot of controversy, and one of the things I thought was really interesting coming out of this new site design is a number of people were questioning whether or not the images on that site were real or were they AI generated. And so depending upon what your business is, you want to be careful about how you're using AI generated images. Because if you're in a high touch business with people and connection, AI generated photos of people may not do very well. Disclaimer, I don't know whether or not they use AI for these images. I'm just commenting that people were questioning it. Okay, so another area of content has to do with SEO. So Download is a tool that's a lot like Zapier or Make in terms of no-code automations and allowing you to easily and quickly do things without necessarily knowing how to code. And they have a few tools that are out of the box that are really pretty powerful. This first one here is finding links within your current site where you don't have links that you should have links. Because that, having good interlinking within your site can make a difference in terms of how Google ranks you. And they've also got a number of other great templates to help you research what keywords maybe you should have, or if there are keywords that you're looking to have, being able to add them to your site.
Sorry, what was that tool? I couldn't hear.
Gumloop, and the lower, I've got links in the lower left-hand corner of the slides too. Okay, so still talking about search and SEO. I think another interesting point is how many of us are using tools like ChatGPT to answer our questions and not even going to Google anymore, right? Our search patterns are changing, which is going to have an impact on people coming to our sites. We have Google, for example, like this was something that I was looking for this weekend. You'll see, I'm getting a generative AI answer. I'm not even having to go to that website anymore. And so I may be missing out on information that business wants to relay to me. Perplexity was sharing last week just how many new searches they're doing, and they're coming out with more and more powerful tools. It's another place that's going to be, it's not the Google templates anymore. And so that brings us back to, remember earlier how I talked about the grid? The way that I originally found out about the grid was more than a year and a half ago when I was doing some research with ChatGPT, and it told me that the grid was actually a current tool. That, as I shared, they ceased operations basically 10 years ago. So how is it that I'm getting that answer? And I think that's something that we really need to also be thinking about as part of our websites and our businesses, is how to make sure that these different tools know about our businesses and know about what we're doing. And if you've been in the website business for a while, you may be familiar with Rebrand, who originally founded SEO Moz. It's got a long history with how to do well on search. And he published last week an article just talking about the different ways to start thinking about how you're writing and different tactics to potentially be using to make sure that your content is getting picked up by scrapers that ultimately are potentially ending up in these different tools. With all this, too, I think another important thing to be taking a look at is once we have people, visitors on our site, how are we making sure that we're personalizing the experience and keeping them back and keeping them engaged and knowing what it is that they are doing on the site. I think we're going to start seeing more and more tools starting to incorporate analytics that use AI that help us be better with knowing what's going on the site and where our visitors are coming from. Okay, so we're going to switch gears again really fast to talk a little bit about design. And does anyone here use Figma? Figma's a big player, right? When it comes to design, all kinds of areas of design. And earlier this year, they talked a little bit about some of the new features that are coming, which have to do with auto layout and search and prototyping. I haven't yet had access to any of them, so I haven't played with any of this. They're also beta testing being able to bring design and development together, or coding in one place. And there are already ways to basically take the designs that you are doing in Figma and taking them over to other development tools that are out there. I think it's going to be really interesting to see as this designer is asking, and this is back from June 2023, is are we going to see Figma as another website developer? I think only time will tell. I think that's sort of showing one of the trends of there's new entrants coming from places that we may not have expected when it comes to design. Here's again, talk a little bit about how we get work done. And so often, one of the things that we have on a website is a contact form, where we're looking to put blog posts out on our site. And so Zapier is a tool that is an automation tool that's pretty easy to use, and getting easier all the time, partially because you can now prompt to an automation that you want. And so one of the things that I've used it for, I've used Zapier for, is taking audio files and turning those into blog posts. So if you're someone who likes to walk and talk and can't get used to sitting down and writing that blog post, you know that you need to be having content on the site, take a look at using Zapier or Nig or a number of these automation tools to take your audio files, to take your YouTube videos and transcribe them and turn them into content that can be auto-added to your website. They're also doing some interesting things when it comes to chatbots. That's something they're looking to add to your site. And then this interfaces feature is also interesting for being able to have specific limited functionality available to a subset of users. And then because it's out here, it can connect to all your tools that you see around. And if you are someone who uses WordPress, there's Gravity Forms has a great tool called Gravity Connect that uses OpenAI, so that you can score your organization. Form submissions, for example, decide do you want to follow up on that or not. And how do builders? As I mentioned with Primo, we've got some new options coming onto the market. How many people use Canva? Great. Did you know that they've got a website builder? Yes. So that's great, and a lot of people don't know that. So you're ahead of the game. And this tool is getting better and better all the time. And if you're a small business, this means that your ads or social media and everything else can all be on brand using the same images. And they're investing in AI in many different ways, one of which was an acquisition of Leonardo earlier this year. Notion is just rolling out tons and tons of AI options, including other features like the ability to build a website. And there are tools that can lay on top of that, like Feather or Softer, that can pull that data in. So if you're already using Notion to write your blog post, instead of potentially trying to take that and put that in another tool, maybe you want to connect that either to their offering or a third-party offering, and be doing everything within Notion all at once. And if you're doing newsletters, Hajj also investing heavily in AI, and they also are having a website builder that's coming out. And so with that, just parting thought, parting question really is, I think it's really important to think about what will a website be. I think that's changing. I think we've been used to websites have been a certain way for the last 20 years. That AI is basically changing content in so many ways, what we're able to generate. Heard earlier about thinking about what is real, what isn't. So I think as digital literacy, really thinking about what's the best way to reach customers and to serve them is going to be more and more important. So if you are looking at redesigning a site or building a new site, start thinking about these different ways so that you can best serve your business and your potential customers. Is that it?
Wow, just absolutely amazing. Let's give everyone a round of applause. That was so incredible. Hajj, Cynthia, Colleen, thank you so much for today. I came out of this completely inspired. I don't know about you. Who here was inspired, ready to code, and to create with our new digital mind, the digital brain. So I think all of us came a long way out of this presentation, learning how can we build a website using AI, all the different tools at our disposal. So many wireframes from these tools like Figma, etc. It's just really incredible. All the different AI tools that are coming out there from, as I said, companies including Figma. So I just want to thank everyone for coming. I hope everyone learned a lot today. We do this every single week. I want to share how not only are we doing presentations today on website building with AI, but we're also going to be launching a workshop on this as well. So if you want to get your hands dirty and learn how to do this yourself, go on by. We're going to do one in combination with RebrandX. We're going to do our own workshop so that we can all learn and grow together. So if you want to learn how to build a website with AI tools, with Colleen as well, swing on by. We're going to be doing this at the AI Center in the next coming up soon. So stay tuned to our socials in order to get that information. If you wish, please scan the QR code on Teams. That's how you can join our community. That's how you join our Telegram, as Colleen very much mentioned quite a few times. We have a Telegram, we have Instagram. Please follow us, and we'll be providing a lot of great insights from there. And one thing that we would like to ask you as our community, please share on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter with the hashtag GPTuesdays. It really does help us a lot when you share pictures, you share videos, or you just tell the world about the good time that you had. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the workshops that we have coming up. Now we're no longer just only doing presentations, we're also giving many, many workshops. We have on November 16th, we're going to be having computer vision from object classification to object image generation. Exactly. So that's going to be from Romanov, really great. We're also going to be doing that in collaboration with a potential partner. That's going to be a surprise announcement once we get their confirmation. And we have many other workshops coming as well. Maybe we'll have that one be a surprise. But we'll talk about next week. Next week's speaker, we have Itai Lewis. We're going to be doing one on Suno. We're going to applause first place for the Suno prize competition for what was cost comments. First place. So many people, Suno is competing, is the first leader in AI music generation. So getting first place with them is very much an accomplishment. So we're really looking forward to next week so you can learn how to do it yourself. And yeah, why not? We're going to have now. We're going to have our very first hackathon. But one that might be a little bit interesting. So it's going to be about music generation hackathon featuring Itai. He's going to be teaching us how to make music with AI, and we're going to come together, all of us, and make our best music in groups and pairs with multiple people to make the best music that we can about judges and everything. So please come by. Yeah, so we have another workshop from tree wealth generation to professionals. So I just want all of you all to know that we're here for you. We want to grow and learn together. And how about we just have some great conversations and please come to the stage.
Also, Miami Quantum Fest is November 8th and also November 9th. So you can sign up for that, and there will be more cost for this because my friend from Libya, Abdulmalik Beytumal, is entering the country on November 6th. And then I have a partnership with people in the United Arab Emirates. So looking forward to Miami Quantum Fest. Please register.
Absolutely. Incredible help. Really a staple of Tuesdays. And in fact, it reminds me, we actually have November 16th, doesn't it? Or with Malik and yourself will be presenting on quantum and AI. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting one. So yeah, thank you so much. Oh yes, and of course Q&A. We've got a Q&A. Definitely Q&A. So we didn't have any questions for our other speakers. Any questions about website building, for Cynthia or Colleen?
Well, first for organizing this, and how many people here are business owners? And how many people are coders, people who can help other business owners do what is being shown here? Okay, so here's the challenge, right? In Miami, I'm challenged when I hear all rebrands. I want to know in your experience as a business owner, I'm really challenged because I get wowed by these presentations, but then as a business owner, I have this challenge to implement, and then I don't have a team. And I try to explain myself, but if you don't understand the technology what's available, it's very hard for you to help me because I'm still looking for guidance. I wish I could just put the thing and do it. Although I'm very grateful to Commissioner Higgins is her name, from District 5 because she allows us business owners to take it. So for the rebrands, in your experience, if you want to, a company that you want to be perceived with the technology, which is my challenge right now, I want people to go to my website and just see AI. That's it. See something of that. So in the rebranding, what would you suggest to be one strategy that is simple to execute in order to be able to do that? That's a, wait, they don't have a question for her.
To be perceived as an AI integrated company. That's the
Right,
question.
because when I can find a team and I can do all of these, I'm sure there's something I can already do that when you go to my web, there is only one element, simple, that is to execute, that integrates AI.
Sure, the first thing that comes to mind is the AI chatbot, to cater to your customers to find out what they need, so that you can integrate that and have a forward conversation with them and get the needs of your customer. That's one thing. The second thing is you're in the right environment, it's GP Tuesdays, because we were kind of like the overview today, and then Colleen had all the sauce with all of the 5-minute website kind of creation platforms that are available. So I know the part that you have is the execution part. And we know that working with small business owners, time is a factor, right? You're not storytellers all the time, you're working in the business and not on the business. So I would encourage you also to take advantage of, I brought up GP Tuesdays because that's the purpose of those workshops as well. Send a team member for the practical and the tactical, like this is for the overview, but the workshops are being implemented so that you can then execute as well.
And another thing about, and this is just more, it's right, we have to build the airplane in the air. Lots of times we wait for everything to be perfect, all the conditions and all the things. So part of it is you probably have enough stuff already. You can connect with somebody, but if we're trying to put all these features that you don't really need, having a single feature, but being present, Woody Allen said 80% showing up, right? So part of it is being out there, and you can always evolve it and develop it over time. So I would say don't lag behind in terms of getting it out there to make it perfect, get it out there, and then you can find ways to integrate a tool or integrate an actual thing. But I love the chatbot piece, right?
So
One more thing too, is this is so underrated, is the back end of your business. You can be an AI business where your operations are powered by AI as well. So don't always think that, oh, I have to have the bright and shiny and the new, but you can serve your clients at a higher level when you have optimized your back end, your ideation process, your invoicing, your customer relations, your, the things that go on with the back end that make you show up better for your customer on the front end. So don't forget about that too.
And it's you, from all of those things that you showed us, being that you're an expert on the website part, if I want to leave home now and do just one thing out of everything that I saw today, to implement more in my business, in my website, of all of that, what would be one thing that it's easy for even me to go and work with?
So you do have a website now.
I have everything you can think of, like 3 websites. For the whole website, I have a website for me, which I'm a speaker, I'm on TV, I do workshops. Then I have a website for my community, which is 1 million Latinas that we have impacted in the United States. That's one community, and then there's me, and then there's the business that I do for corporate. 3.
Okay, so I would piggyback on what was just said about the chatbot. So I have a slide up about Zapier. Zapier is one of many tools out there. Are you familiar with
Yeah,
Zapier?
just my professor is right here. So I just learned Zapier like a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to work with it. But Zapier, you have to program, you have to actually know many things. So I guess I was asking more to something that is, say, from everything there, some one tool that you say, you know what, this one, go and then quick right away.
One of the first tools that I learned as part of the code was Zapier. And you've already got your professor talking about it. It is a major player, and they now have that interface that I showed briefly, where you can just type what you want to do. So, like, what's a pain point currently with your business?
So I would say the digital footprint, because prior to the pandemic, I was business B2B, and I didn't really need to be online because all my business is not on Instagram. But now I do have to show everything that I do on TV and everything. I have to show everything that I do, but I don't have a way or an automatization, if we go within Zapier, that would take, like, I go on TV. Tomorrow I'm going to be on TV on Telemundo. If you want to know, I do better. Not like this. So I go on TV and I do my segment. right there, I could be videotaping that segment of 6 minutes, and then having something that will help me immediately share it on my social media or LinkedIn.
So Zapier has integrations with connecting tools with different social platforms. So I would maybe suggest just taking a look at Zapier, typing in Instagram, and see what the suggested flows are. And if one of those applies to you, go with it, and if not, use their chat interface. And just start asking questions, and search on YouTube too for tutorials with like Instagram and like that.
I was gonna say, sometimes, we're talking about AI, but right now, we're at GPTuesdays, we're broadcasting to LinkedIn, we're broadcasting to YouTube, I think, right now, so there's nothing AI about that. Just click at the StreamYard, and use that as a live stream to solve that problem. Right now, in this session, Grant is live streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube via a platform called StreamYard. Okay, so your question was, how do I publish it to all these places? He's doing that right now as we speak.
Using StreamYard.
Yes.
You use StreamYard to stream everything live. Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions? Anyone else have more questions before we wrap up? All right, well, that's all amazing.